Okay, just checking. Okay, we're live. Dun, da, da, da. Little behind today, but had some issues come up um, with my son's car, so I was running around late after work and had some computer issues yesterday. Um, so now we're going to go and get back into Creative Studio and do a little bit of designing. So as some of you may or may not know, Creative Studio had an update. So when we launched Creative Studio, the things are a little bit different. The drop downs have changed. They have better pop outs for stuff like this, going to bags and wallets. Anything new is going to have a star next to it. So that means there's a new product in that category. So we are doing mugs tonight. So we're going to pick a mug. Now I leave everything wide open. You could go in through administrator and put in your supplier's code. I might do that later just to show everyone how that's done. But they're relatively close for what I'm doing. I don't do full bleeds on my mugs. So we're going to do a 11 ounce classic C handle full panel. No, I'm not. That's not the one I want. What am I picking the wrong thing for? So that's the one I want. Is that the one I want? That's the one I want because I want it in white. Okay, we are going to actually do it on 11 ounce mug paper. I love printing mugs on mug paper, makes it way easier. Okay, so there we go. There's my mug paper. There's my mug. Now what I'm doing is I'm doing St. Patty's Day stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into templates. And this is new, the way they drop the templates out. So now everything's on the left-hand side. Pop downs are there, so holidays and festivals, it drops down. Everything comes up here, so you got a lot of choices. It's much better visually. I haven't actually tried the search to see if the search is any better or not. You come in here and they've got a couple pre-designed St. Patty's Day mugs, which are more full bleed, which really isn't what I'm going to go for on this. So I just want to sit there and see if there's anything, and there's nothing really what I want to do. And you'd easily take any one of these and we could drop this in. Now this one even comes in almost the same size. Now if you notice, this is actually made up of 5 different things. If you want to resize all of them, just go outside of the area of all the things, highlight them, it'll lock them all together. Now there's no way to group them like in a regular graphics program, but once they're grouped and all selected and you hit your enlarge or decrease buttons, you can change the size. So this would be one. You could sit there and take that and we'll drag the whole thing over and we'll line it up with this. The biggest thing is, since you can't group it, you got to do everything by eye. You can't move individual elements to if I did this, it'd stack everything on the same line. It really wouldn't look good. Now if you want to with this, you could take this design, select them all, and duplicate them all. Now this will take a little while depending on your internet connection. Now you should then be able to drag it, put it over here. Like I said, this is the hardest part of using this software when you're laying stuff out like this, to make sure that this and this are exactly the same height. A lot of times you'll have to zoom in and it's still guessing in a lot of cases. So this one's actually not that bad, so I think I'll actually print this one. St. Patty Lucky Mug. And then we're going to do, if anybody's watched last week's, I'm not actually going to send it directly to the printer. I'm not going to create the .sg file directly from it. Instead, I'm going to cancel. I'll print it later from my administrator. So I don't want this. So you could hit delete, or you can hit a clear button. Clear button eliminates everything. It asks if you want to continue. I do. Excuse me. So I want to put some text in. I've been working on some of my own custom worded mugs, something else to put out there, try to make my own unique. So I'm going to change that. That's just the first line. Again, we covered this last week. If you have multiple text lines, because the text here is not the best, it's better now that with its drop down and it's showing on the right, so you get to see everything better. But it's still not the easiest. It doesn't recall font names, so if you don't remember a font name, you're gonna have to go through everything. See, I like that. I like the look of that. I'll make it smaller. That's not a problem for what I'm looking for. All right, I actually like that look. I'm gonna change the color. Probably gonna change that to a dark Kelly green. Dark green. I'll go with the Kelly green. And then I want to see what it looks like with an outline. We're going to go a size 3 behind, and we're just going to go with a lime green. Yeah, sort of like that. All right, so I need 3 lines on what I'm doing here. So what I'm going to do is select it and duplicate it, and then duplicate that. So now I have my 3 lines. Now I need to change. So I want the middle one. Get rid of that period that's the end of there. Okay, I'm Irish, I promise. And I did it backwards. Okay, so this needs to go up there. This needs to go down there. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to take all 3 of these, we need to highlight them, and we need, they added some stuff. We need to line those to center. That lines them all up. Okay, that works beautifully. Now, what I need to that is, there is no alignment tool to space things out. You can get that in your regular programs. This one you got to do it by hand. That's usually when I'll use the arrow keys. So I really want this to be here. So a lot of times I will work on my vertical spacing before I do my horizontal adjustments. Line centers. So do that. It's coffee, I promise. I'm Irish. Now, the biggest thing you have to decide when you're doing a mug like this, this is going to have wording on the other side, is you have to decide which side of the mug is the drinker's and which side is the not drinker side. And that all comes down to whether it's a left-handed person or a right-handed person. Where do they carry the mug? I'm left-handed, so mine isn't always handled to the left. So this would be the part facing me. If you're right-handed, this would be the part facing away. I'm designing this as a right-handed mug. So I actually want to bring the whole thing up a tad. So that's that side. Now what I want to do is I need to take another one because I need it again. Not right click, object, duplicate. Move this over here. Now a lot of times it's difficult to figure out how much is going to fit. So like that wraps. Yeah, see, that's not going to work the way I want it to. So we'll take this. we're going to cut it. A lot of times to make sure you don't have the extra spots. And then we're going to take this and we're going to duplicate it, put it below it. All right, if you notice, this is showing, it keeps building up. Every time you add a new element, it stacks it on top of the other elements. If you need to rearrange stuff, you have to drag and move it. And we'll highlight that and we'll paste in what we had. We got that, and we're going to add another one. I did it again. It's been a long day. And we're going to put that there. And we're going to say OK. And then we're going to make another one. I did it again. All right, so now we've got our this is our little inside joke. All right, we're going to make that a little bit smaller so it fits in better. So we can separate the text just a little bit. We'll highlight all those. We'll align them all to center, drag the whole group to line it up on the marker. Okay, and these markers, this is halfway. If you were going to put a full-size image, you want to center it on this marker. This is a quarter away that way, that's a quarter of the way this way. This is your roughly ½ inch that you're not going to be able to sublimate unless you're doing a 3D vacuum sublimation. I'm assuming you're not. So where am I now? Okay, so now I want to add some decorations to it. So we're not going to go to templates, we're going to go to images. And it brings up all the images. These are all mine. Some of the stuff I've saved, some of the stuff I've downloaded. So again, this is done the same way. So we've got new text ornamentation, which I have not seen. Donut letters, flower letters. Oh, that's really cool. All right, there's some really nice new stuff here. It's really going to allow me to do some really interesting things. So let's get to holiday and festivals, and let's go to St. Patrick's Day and see what we have. Well, we've got a bunch of backgrounds. We have much of the Celtic knots. This calligraphy, we've got the standard stuff, the Irish flag, that's sort of nice. Some shamrocks, beer, green beer. Yeah, not that. Trying to hide the fact that there's alcohol in my coffee. I didn't actually say that, but you know. So let's try. Don't really like any of those backgrounds. Yeah, they're not very particularly good. So let's see. Let's go with, I like that one. I'm going to put this in here. Now, of course, the color is different. But what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it smaller. And then we'll make it smaller, and smaller, smaller. Now with this, we can go to here, and we can actually center it horizontally and center it vertically, so it's perfectly where we want it to be. I see I need more than that. Yeah, I don't like it. Nope, we're going to delete it. Let's go back in and see if we can find something else here. Go back to holidays. Where did I put it? There it is, holidays and festivals, St. Patrick's Day. See what that one gives us. Sort of interested in this. Let's see what we can do. See, if you notice, if I drag this around, it put it on top. So if I really wanted this to be behind, first thing I want to do is I want to center it vertically, horizontally. So if I want it behind everything, I have to select that item and use these up and down keys. Oh wait, just drag it. How do I do this? I forgot. Oh, that's where it is. Move down. That's right, it's not up and down keys. So we move down, we move it down. If you'll notice to the right, you can see that it is moving slowly, slowly, slowly down to the bottom. And that's where I want it. So it's coffee, I promise, with a nice little filigree thing, which is too big because I don't, and I'm not a fan of the color, but I can't change the color. All right, so we're going to leave this. I think I'm going to make another one. We'll drag it over here. Now, of course, it's still on top of everything else. So we have to select it and go to Object and move it down and move it down and move it down and move it down. I should. One more, and it's behind. So that's good. I'm okay with that. Let's see. Sorry, got interrupted with there. So I still want to do something else. So let's go to travel, UK and Ireland. Let's see, what do we got here? We got the Blarney Castle, James Joyce Bridge, which is, I've actually been there, it's really cool. Christchurch Regional, Trinity College's globe is actually really neat to see. Yeah, nothing there really jumps out at me, so let's see, where else can we look for something? No, we're not going to do religion. We could, but all right, let's go back to holidays. Let's go back to St. Patrick's Day. Let's see what we can find here that I would like to add. Put in some shamrock vine. That might work really, really well. Let's grab the long one here. That's huge. I don't need it to be that big. Okay, we're going to rotate this. See, it doesn't want to be rotated. It wants to go. Well, actually, so let's make it a little bit smaller. That's nicely done. That's the other thing we don't have. We don't have degree indicators, so it's really hard to tell. It needs to be a little bit smaller. Now what I want to do is duplicate. Put this there. Then we are going to flip vertically. So now if I take both of these, I align the top. That works out really nicely. I drag it to the center here. It doesn't touch at the top, which is what I thought it was going to do. So just rotate. Yeah, so you rotate that in, you're going to rotate that out. So that's not going to work. All right. Okay. Oops. Not square. Square. Okay, now I don't like my colors on my text. This is the part that stinks. because there's no way to do it all three at the same time. See, it won't let me fix the colors that way. I have to do them individually. Do them individually, I can change the colors. So if I go to a dark green with the light green, let's see if I change the outline to the Kelly green. What's the other green we have? We have an emerald green. Let's go with the emerald green. Now that makes it a little too hard to read. Let's go to the outline and let's remove it. Did I remove the outline from the wrong one? Probably. Yes, I did. Okay, sort of like that. So we're going to go to these. We're going to change these all to the dark green, getting rid of the outline because we don't like it anymore. Now it's not as bright as I was originally thinking, so I may still make some changes, but that's part of the designing process, and that's one of the reasons why I do like this software. For a person who doesn't design for a living and doesn't necessarily have the skill set to use a higher end program. I mean, I can muddle through it for some stuff. I know how to get into remove a background from a photo, but I usually end up having to go look up the instructions again every time because I don't do it often enough. Okay, so now we have that. See, this is just using the same, oh, the beige. Let me look at that. I wonder if we do the outline. Let's go 3. That, tan, behind. No, I don't like that. There's tan 726. That's khaki. Tan 726. So maybe I didn't pick the right one. Tan 726, yeah, that's the one I applied. Let's go 4. Alright, we're going to try something a little different here. Change that and go with the text outline of our Kelly green. Ooh, that looks horrible. Okay. Yeah, we definitely don't want that. So let us remove the outline. Let us change this back to the dark green. I don't like the outline, so we're going to remove it. So now we've got a mostly green mug. Now I'm not digging these anymore, so we're going to get rid of those. I'm going to get rid of the exclamation point because I don't like it. Big thing is when you do that, you have to hit OK or it will not update the text. So I hit enter, it was gone, but it didn't matter. The only thing is when you change the text, if you've centered everything, you got to recenter. Otherwise, it will stay where it originally was centered. So it's something else in there. Let's go back to holidays and festivals. Let's go back to St. Patrick's Day. I got a Shamrock photo, but I'm not really looking into that. The splatters aren't doing it for me. Shamrock pattern's not doing it for me. Not digging the calligraphy. All right, so let's go with Celtic knot again. So of course, we got to get it behind. We got to make it smaller. And it's got to get behind everything. So we have to move it down, tilt in the back. Of course, it's way too dark right now, and it's not centered either. So let's move that to there. So let's go to my color. So it is coming up as emerald green, which is that one. Change it to dark green. Let's soften it up. So the problem is, as soon as I start clicking out here, if you notice, the swatch name went away. Yeah, I know you're not ready. So let's see what we get if we do that. Ooh, that's awful. That's really bad. Yuck. I don't want to delete, but I'm trying to get something. So let's go up here. That's better. I like that a little bit better. It's a nice little background pattern. So we'll take that, we'll duplicate it. We'll move it over here. And we will drag the object and we will make it go down, 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 down. Alright, so now I've got my mug. It's coffee. It's coffee, I promise I'm Irish. That's the side facing everybody else. The side facing the right-handed coffee drinker says, well, it's got coffee in it, sort of a hidden little joke. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but that's what I'm sticking with. So this is, I promise mug, and we're gonna hit OK, and we're gonna hit cancel. So now if it was time for me to print my 2 mugs, I'll go to administration. I've got a ton of files on here because of the last couple things, but here are my 2 mugs. I select each one. I come up to the top, I hit print. It's going to create this SGZ with all these extra letters. It's a combined job. Hit save. It's going to save. Virtuoso Print Manager uses that as a hot folder. It's going to fire it up. Eventually, oh, there it is. Popped up underneath. I'm not you don't group images. Make sure it's mirrored, depending on what you're putting it on. I'll change it to glass ceramic. I always use True Pix Classic. You can do, I mean, I haven't seen that much different by changing those, but I always run mine in high quality. In this case, I'd change my colors to graphic instead of photographic. I think it makes a difference. I think it pops a little bit more. I always tell it to use the default high quality patches. And then if my printer was hooked up, I'd hit print, but it's not. So we're gonna hit cancel. When you go through here, if you've uploaded images, if there's images that you don't need anymore, you can come in here and select them and delete them. You can do uploads of new images here. Same thing, any templates you've done. If you've created any colors, I've created 3. Product categories. Well, what this says is you can actually see specific categories. So if there's stuff you're never going to do, you don't have to put it in there. Now, if you do have a reseller, my particular reseller is Condi. So if I put Condi in there and hit save, it's completed. If I go back to designer, when I go to pick products, it's only going to show me what's available from my vendor. So no question as to what the product is. And there you go. So when we come back up, if we were to look under product and bring the big drop down, you're not going to get the full listing of everything that's out there. You're only going to get the ones that Condi sells. And I know Condi's working on getting a new update so that more of the items they sell show up. But that's it for tonight's live broadcast. And hopefully I had a visitor. I don't know. I didn't check. Hopefully the audio was working. I didn't check. Boy, that'd be silly if I spent the entire time just talking to nobody. I will have new ideas for next week, and I hope to see somebody there. Hope you have a good evening. Actually, let me check my YouTube. Nope, nobody's there. So I am going to be ending this broadcast right now.